Circle Podcast. I'm your host, the Fifth General.
Zaccheus
and Cinemascapes.
Okay. All right, so last episode, we talked about some things. The last episode was titled Trap Gospel. And we kind of talked about the current state of Christian hip-hop, positive hip-hop, gospel hip-hop, whatever you like to call it. I have to say it that way because not everybody would call it, the same way everybody else does. So to not cause any confusion, I like to include all of the opinions of what people would label it, okay? But like I said before, my statement is Christian hip-hop is not a genre, but it is more so a community within the genre and the culture of hip hop. Right, okay.
Right. So in other words, it wouldn't be, you wouldn't go online and to talk about category of hip hop. It won't be like automatically displayed like that. It'll be in the community, hip hop community.
Yeah, I mean, if you walked into a Christian bookstore and then you saw hip hop, you ain't gonna see no Jay-Z and Nas there.
No, you're not.
but if you're in like a Best Buy, a Walmart, it would probably be sectioned off. But it would, but it could still be within the same bin as hip hop as a whole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because originally Tower didn't separate it, so you had to look through everything in Tower.
Facts. Same thing with J&R Music World.
Same thing with I think Caribbean gospel, right? I think so.
To some degree, it was always put in within everything else.
Yeah.
If there was a Christ, if you were looking for a Christ the Far Right album or a Papa San album, it would be in the reggae section.
Yes.
You just had to know who that artist was.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But if you were shopping at Walmart and there was a gospel section, you would see Christ the Far Right and Papa San in that section. Or both.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
So, so we're going to talk about a couple things. Today's topic is culture vultures. We're going to talk about what that means. We're going to talk about the financial, the disrespect, anything that has happened, whether it be in music and Hollywood, because cultural appropriation, matter of fact, pull up the if you can you pull up the definition of cultural appropriation, and then we'll read that when we get into that topic. Just look up cultural appropriation, get that definition. So a lot has happened last week. So like I said, our last episode was titled Trap Gospel. We talked about the current state of Christian hip hop. So over the weekend, or I would say midweek or whatever, last week. So we've had a I wouldn't say a beef, but I'll call it a discourse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rapper Shai Linne, he dropped an album called Still Jesus. Okay, I heard the project.
Yeah.
He has a song called Random Thoughts 3. Random Thoughts 3. In that song, he addressed his feelings and how he feels about Christian hip hop and how it's different from his time, or at least different from a time that he had took favor in. Okay, we have a rapper by the name of Ruslan from the group The Breaks.
Yeah, tell them where they're from, man.
He responded. Yeah. Well, I'll get into that. He responded to Shai Linne's record. His record is called Random Thoughts 4. And he basically explained his feelings in the record. To be fair, I haven't heard Ruslan's breakdown and his reasoning for the record. Neither have I heard Shai Linne's reasoning for the record. So I won't include that. We'll just go off the records for face value. Okay? We don't want to promote beef in Christian hip hop because, number one, it's not beef. Number two, beef in the Christian hip hop community is corny. It is. Doesn't make any sense. Ain't nobody throwing hands. So kill that noise. Okay? We're gonna talk about that in a second, but what we want to do is I want to talk about O.J. Simpson's parole hearing.
Yep.
I take a particular interest in this topic only because I see the media reaction. I'm going to give two views of this. One view, somewhat, I'm not going to I'm not gonna 100% support OJ. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and defend OJ to the death for this because I really don't.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that because I have a thing of principle of why I would defend some of this stuff. But then on a personal note, I still believe the man's a coon. But anyway, so I mean, I'm not black. I'm OJ.
I'm OJ. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm. So that's why I'm gonna take a front seat and the back seat on that issue.
Yes. I'm
gonna hand it over to Zaccheus first on this particular issue. Zaccheus. What is first? I'm gonna ask. What is your opinion on OJ's parole hearing as far as the media reaction and social, and society's reaction?
Yes. Well, OJ Simpson, they wanted to bury him from that time of 1995 during the Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson trial because of the whole case, and he was acquitted from that trial. The glove didn't fit. Then let's quit. If they don't fit, let's if the glove don't fit, then
must have quit.
Must have quit. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Johnny Cochran.
Yeah. Oh yeah, rest in peace. Yes, for real. Yeah. Condolences. But man, they wanted to bury him from that point. And I believe that case divided the country, race wise, divided the country from that point on.
And whose fault was that? You know what? Hold that thought.
Hold that thought.
You know what? I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't want to put you on the spot like that.
Yeah.
I'll answer that if that's okay. But you go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, man, now leading up to 2017, his parole and so forth like that, they even wanted to take away his NFL pension. I don't think that's right. They wanted to take that away from him. Even got punished. He served his time. He did his time. Now he want to take away the man's pension. That's not right, man. So I'm glad he was able to hopefully able to hold on to that, and they won't take that away. He's been making money since he's been in prison too. I've been reading a little bit about that too. 400,000, 600,000. So my whole take on that is that OJ served his time. So let him just rattle this time. Take your service time to let him just be released in peace and leave him alone. That's what I think.
Cinema. I'm going to give you a question that's not the same as Zaccheus to kind of give a little bit of variety to this conversation. What is your response to the media's hypocritical approach to O.J. Simpson's parole hearing?
Number one, you're holding it live with all sorts of commentary on things. Comedy it was, because it's like, if I'm innocent till proven guilty, or if somebody else, let's say a Furman, no one says he's guilty because the court said he's innocent. Like if someone says he's guilty on a thread or something online, it starts an immediate fight. So if I was innocent, how come there's a double standard? And you could say things that, you say these things about somebody else, you could be in court and, for perjury.
I don't want to cut you off. Explain who Mark Furman is for our listeners.
Yes.
The Trayvon Martin case. No. The officer Mark Furman. Oh, Mark Furman.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying for those who don't know.
Oh, Furman was the one who they caught evidence on,
Right. He was the arresting officer and he had a reputation for planting evidence.
And it was established in trial he planted evidence.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I went to a whole nother thought.
That's okay.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
And so basically no trial ever came up about that.
Mm-hmm.
And no one talks about Furman, but Furman was relieved. Yeah. But Furman was relieved of duty years later for another incident, which we won't get into.
Right.
And so, right name, and then the other example, the Trayvon Martin case.
Right.
If he's not guilty, if Zimmerman's not guilty,
yep.
You know, you'll get into a forum and an argument will start on that. So if OJ was found innocent, you know, whether we believe he's innocent or not, a court of the law found him innocent. So publicly, it's perjury to say he's guilty.
Yeah.
And so basically, you know, these reporters perjured themselves on live TV, but no one's going to do anything about it.
I remember a lot of folks during that time saying, I'm sorry, Shamik. I remember a lot of folks.
I don't even know. Everybody and their grandma had their own theory on the murder.
I remember a lot of folks telling me, he got money. That's why he got off. He got money. That's why, you know.
I was crazy because I had I was so much younger. I was like, his son did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get any type of theory from that time, from anybody who was at, you know, it was more, that's when the glamour trial started, you know, and when they started covering things of that nature.
Yeah.
And that, that started ushering reality television.
Yeah.
And in fact, a Kardashian was there as a lawyer.
Oh yeah, Kardashian. Yeah, he was a lawyer. Yes, he was.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, so the Kardashians were really at the beginning of reality TV.
Yeah, they were kids. Yeah, they were
not the ones we know, but you know their dad.
They were kids.
So, but that's a whole nother topic. But the fact is, you know, we're talking about this particular crime. He's gotten a maximum sentence in that area. The average is about a year or so. He spent 9 years in. Yeah, it's time for parole.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
They can't touch his actor's pension and they can't touch his NFL pension.
NFL pension, yeah.
No, they can't touch it, man.
They can't touch it. And so, you know, I can't watch so much or listen so much and take things to heart because there's so much said that was not about that hearing. Yeah. And even when the lawyer was saying he's a murderer and I'm like, he's not convicted. You can't bring this in.
Yeah. You're bringing in an old case,
which he was acquitted for. You know, the silver suit is always different, and that was the whole thing. His lawyer said, he said he's glad this parole was in a state where the parole board is not elected. You know, they can only be impeached. They're appointed for whatever time, so you can get something fair. And he mentioned how, since judges are up for election, you know, they're kind of hesitant to go against public opinion and thing on certain high, you know, profile cases. He had a very good lawyer. He always has good lawyers. That's a sidebar, but you know, you know, to me, it's very interesting, you know, you know, like the two presidents, like, a lot of things were said about the last president, and then now people are saying stuff about this president, and people are mad. But it's like, it all ends up who you favor and how you see things. But for me, it's like the parties have flip-flopped to one, you know, and people are mad at for people saying not my president, but people were saying that last term for 8 years.
Yes.
But all of a sudden it's problematic. But that's how the media coverage, that's just an example of how the media coverage and all this spin you have because of social media and live streaming. And basically, you're watching it. You're not, you know, how you used to have to watch it from one source or something like that, or only major channels. It's being streamed by anybody who has a press pass, and they're just spewing their opinion across something, which may not be factual, which may even be perjury or other things, you know?
Yeah.
And basically, this is about what happened in Nevada where he said, give me back my stuff. The recording, the infamous, hilarious recording.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Sit down.
The key word, my stuff. So you arrest him, but you don't arrest the actual thief who stole the stuff. And then, like I said off air, the man, you had people in that hotel room wired up like they was feds. I'm like, man, wow. That's how you know they was trying to get this man's, they were trying to get this man for years. For years,
yeah.
And then it's, he's at a wedding. He's not home. He wasn't really traveling around and doing much stuff. They never made any more Naked Guns or anything.
Some kind of propaganda going on.
But it is what it is, and
OJ, that's what you get. That's what you get for OJ. That's what you get for being trapped in a sunken place.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you want more of that, if you want to go deeper, because we don't go that deep on here, right. Go to Mr. Z and Fifth and go listen to some of those episodes.
Exactly. Go tune in
because we're talking about it on here because it's current events.
Right.
But we're not gonna chop it up and go deep about it.
Right. So we're gonna have to what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna transition from that. Okay, since we spoke about that, let's go into quote unquote. I say quote unquote so-called Christian hip hop beef. I don't call it that. But that's what people are calling it, and it just sounds very silly when I say
because
it.
a lot of people don't listen to a lot of holy. Well, some Christians that don't even. No, a lot of Christians. They got some Christians I met that don't even listen to holy hip hop. I'm like, you never heard of it. You never said, oh no. I said no. They don't even know the names of some of these artists.
I'll tell you something.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you a story, and I'm not going to mention the name of the artist.
Yeah.
But basically, they were like, oh, I'm telling them about all these groups. I'm pulling out my folder. And then, they go on tour and they meet all these people. And, my brother, with his sense of humor, pulls the picture of them meeting everybody and puts it in his hard drive.
Yeah.
When you find out there's Christian culture. Because when Christian hip hop started, all of us, anybody who was doing it, because I started, late 80s, early 90s, myself personally. Mm-hmm. We didn't have the internet. No, MySpace and stuff wasn't there. You had stores. You found out about Pieces and Crews. And then once you found out you can get those CDs from then you would hear it gas, and then it'll help you explore, help the guy in the store find that. But everybody doesn't know everything about the early origins. There's a lot of anchor marks like Mike Peace, because he used to go into neighborhoods around the country and evangelize, on the street. And so he made records for them to have to facilitate his ministry. Right. Then you had, we talked about SFC, PID. There's a lot of people, local rappers like Tony T, who I knew from New York, and then, it's a lot of groups. You can't mention everybody. And then there's a lot of people locally. Like then when they started going from church to church, they started hooking up with other people. So, there's no, actual, we still learn about the origins this day.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of people who broke through, like DC Talk helped break through to the mainstream.
Right. Yes.
Before
back in the days. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I had their video Rap, Rock, and Soul. I was in high school. Yeah. Yeah. Guess my age. That's the only clue you get in this show. But, I had the Rap, Rock, and Soul. I went to a Christian school. We had a party. We were playing, what's this? The second album, with I love rap music and all that stuff and other stuff. They snuck down to the basement, had our rap, but we were kids, and but that's we all have our different stories, but basically this debate from hearing boils down to what people think Christian rap should be, and we've talked about this on this program. Some people think it should be the language and the approach we should take toward it. And, Fifth, I want to get I want to get you and Zaccheus's, kind of overview on that, because basically I don't have a transcript of the song. I just know certain things are said.
Okay. So I'll say like this.
Right.
So, and then I'm going to give it back to you in a second. I just need to phrase it this way.
Okay, no problem.
I have to quote something that I said last week. Last week I said that you have that crowd that says, you don't, when you're making a song, just keep it biblical. Don't worry about it being lyrical. And then I said that it's possible to do both.
Right.
You don't have to sacrifice art for ministry. You can still have ministry and art. The two can work cohesively.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Cinema, you just said something about that particular crowd that feels what Christian hip hop should sound like. But this is why you have some artists that say, well, you know what? I'm not in Christian hip hop. I'm not a Christian rapper. I'm just a rapper who is Christian. So then you have that, and that's been miscommunicated throughout the years. Half of the time when people say that, they saying the same thing but differently. It sometimes is just very confusing. Let me start with Shai Linne. My Shai Linne song, Random Thoughts 3. I would play it on here, but then I'll get a copyright notice, so that's why I won't do that. So anybody out there for research purposes, just look up Shai Linne, Random Thoughts 3. If you want to know how to spell his name, I'll put it in the description box, but I'll spell it out for you. Shai, and then it's Linne. Okay? Now, so he just released the album Still Jesus last week, right? I mean, today's July 25th, so by the time this airs, it'll be, we'll be a week behind, but whatever. So, when this airs Monday. So, here's the thing. My take is this. We talked about Lecrae last week. We talked about Lecrae and Reach Records for a short time. I can't remember exactly what I said. So, Shai Linne spoke about a change in Christian hip hop. This is just Shai Linne's opinion, though, about the transition from Christian hip hop in 2012. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I can't quite think of what happened in 2012, but I can think of a timing where things started to shift a little bit. I get it. Lecrae started to get more attention outside of the Christian hip hop community. He started collabing with guys who are not Christian rappers. So he started to get, he did a mixtape called Church Clothes. He started working with producers like Ninth Wonder. I think he even did a song with Big Crit. And, he collabed with other people that we would know today in popular mainstream rap. So a lot of people felt like Lecrae was leaving Christian hip hop. I'm going to admit myself that I kind of fell away from Lecrae because at one point he was riding with his top down, listening to some Jesus music. And then all of a sudden we started to hear him say, with his whole stance on whether being called a Christian rapper or not. So, okay, fine. So even I myself had stepped away from him. Not because I felt that his heart was in the wrong place or that he was, out there, doing all types of stuff and backsliding. I didn't think of all of that. I just figured, hey, he's doing his own thing. Okay, whatever. I felt that he at one point was stepping away from the very support that got him to where he's at. That's just what I thought. If I'm gonna speak my truth, I have to say this. Okay, so then later on, you started to notice his music. I like the fact that he started to now talk about more social issues and stuff like that, because you can't just sit by and let things happen and you see your people out there getting shot down like dogs in the street. So I appreciate him addressing that now. It started to bring me back to him. You know what I mean? And I think his intentions are in the right place. But then Shai Linne's basically talked about, you was on the right path, but then all of a sudden you started kind of like dissing the church and all that. And it's, he felt like that was corny. You know what I'm saying? So, for face value, that's what I get from the track. There's probably more, but I got to kind of hurry this up because I need to get Zaccheus in the conversation. So then we've had Ruslan from the breaks. Ruslan, Ruslan. Ruslan KD. So he did a record called Random Thoughts 4, responding to Shai Linne. Yeah. To me, I felt like Shai Linne's song was more subliminal. as with Ruslan's record, to me, I felt was a straight up diss record. I mean, he went at Shai. Okay? But then I like the fact that Ruslan did this. Shai wasn't dissing Ruslan. Ruslan basically came to Lecrae's defense. Ruslan admitted that he don't believe Lecrae himself would have responded on Ruslan's behalf. So even he himself admitted, look, he probably wouldn't even do this record if somebody was coming at me. But I feel like I should say something. So I personally feel like Ruslan implemented himself into this discourse. I don't call it beef. I just call it a discourse.
Discourse.
Okay, if I'm using the right word here. You know, I think it's more so of a disagreement, but he feels like he's addressing the issue. Social media and the Christian hip hop community is going crazy. A lot of people picking sides. Oh, I'm picking this side. I'm picking Shai's side. One's picking Ruslan's side. I mean, I said on my Twitter, you know, that beef in Christian hip hop is corny. You know, and I also said that this hype would die down, and then the Christian hip hop community will go back to business as usual.
Right.
It won't even matter.
Right.
You know? And, you know, and shout outs to Cruz Cordero. He was like, yo, man, ain't no beef in Christian hip hop. Ain't no such thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I understood, I understand that. Jafia Life, you know, he said, if I could kind of, I don't have the thing in front of me, but I don't want to mess up what he said. But he said on Facebook, who decided that there was going to be something called Christian hip hop anyway? Did you consult the pioneers? And then some people are like, well, if pioneers, do you mean Kool Herc, Africa Bambaataa, or are you talking about them? You know what I mean?
Can I step in here for a second?
Go ahead.
As somebody been listening to Christian hip hop, I'm going to address this part, and this is opinion, because I love Ruslan. That's my dude.
Yeah.
But I the first thing with whatever he said about Shai Linne, I said, he came off because, he's a good MC.
Mm-hmm.
What this thing that everyone always talks about, Christian hip hop was this, and you tried to make it that. It all depends on who you heard, because a lot of people's Christian hip hop starts at cross movement, and
that's true.
And there's 10 years before that. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, there are records sitting by SFC, Dynamic Twins and stuff, now available again on iTunes and Amazon with the dates, with the copyright dates and stuff, so you can see whether you like the style or not. You wouldn't have been in the style is irrelevant. What's relevant is it's there.
Yeah.
There's books. There's Soup the Chemist's book, which documents a lot of this stuff if you want to get to know it. It's on sale at Amazon. I lost my copy because I just moved in December. I got to buy another one. I wanted to read it again before we did the other show, and I was like, oh, gosh, I done lost my stuff. But when you start speaking on Christian hip-hop, I have a joke that I always tell Fifth. Somebody needs a history lesson, because there's a lot of things before I speak I got to research because I wasn't there.
Right.
Like there was East and West Coast. But I want to tell you, one of the earliest hip hop shows I saw was PID and SFC, because they came to New Jersey and I was in a youth group.
Wow.
That was early 90s, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was in Jersey. It was sponsored by somebody who went to Faith Fellowship Ministry Outreach, which they used to have events. I saw Rick Kua and stuff. We had a talent contest. We were teenagers. I rapped over there, on their stage in a talent contest. And we used to do a lot of street ministry. But, a lot of these guys came because, the Christian bookstores are closing around where I am now, if people don't realize it. Family Christian Bookstore just closed both of its locations near me.
See?
And that was my lifeline, the Christian hip hop. Back then, in fact, if you listen to the records, it was referred to as holy hip hop.
Yeah.
Before CHH even came, back on the earlier records. So we used to call it holy hip hop. And then we had our little crew of our combined things, Fifth's cousin, and then we called ourselves the Holy Hip Hop Tribe on Staten Island. So, because that's what everyone.
Zaccheus, I'm gonna get you in just a second. Go ahead, Cinema.
We're gonna get and to wrap this up is when you start talking about because that was Christ centric. It was a bunch of different styles and stuff, and even if the guy, today if they consider you whack, they'll speak about it. Mm-hmm. Basically, back then they stood in unity. Like right. Even on Terror on Tape, DC Talk got shouted out on Soup's album on Phase 3, which is SSC's third album. And then, they used to always do that. They used to have Cypher tracks. Oh my gosh, the Dynamic Twins albums and Freedom of Soul. Mm-hmm. Man, Poetic Lee's on Wax. I actually met Poetic Lee at a conference. Cool dude. There's a lot of people that people leave out because they don't know who they are.
Exactly.
And it's like, and we only had the record, so we didn't know the history of the rappers we were listening to. And I'm leaving out a lot because if I open my CD book, it'll be too much time for don't want to take up too much time. But when you start talking about that, that's kind of part of the reason why I left. Early 90s, because when Cross Movement and all that came, they kept saying, I'm an artistic dude. I grew up on Tribe Called Quest and stuff too.
Yes,
so I have a style. I don't try to do what style's popular to reach. I just do the music that God put in my heart to reach my generation, and that's how I feel on that personally. Mm-hmm. And so when you start talking about, okay, I'm tired of you guys. That's what they do. Some of these guys are on record theologians, but I don't fault that. But whenever you start having that beef on who should do what, that's when I can't even, I don't want to hear either side, because you can't tell somebody how to do something. You could teach them how to produce. You could teach someone how to play an instrument, which I have. They will develop their own style eventually and their own flair, which people know them for, Everyone doesn't sing the same. Everyone doesn't sing like Prince. Everybody doesn't sing like Michael Jackson. Everyone doesn't sing like Marvin Gaye. Your voice and everything you do has a unique tonal quality, and then your influences are different. You might not even listen to the music I listen to, That's where I had a little issue. But it's like, if you could sit down and have a debate or contact each other, because when you put it on wax, it's on wax, and it's on wax forever. Mm-hmm. Even if you find out different information there. I was talking to the guys off the thing, and I'm not going to mention what it was. I was going to do something on wax, and I decided not to do it because I said this will forever be out there. When you put something on wax, it's on wax. Even if you take it away, somebody ripped it and they have a copy of it. It will forever exist.
Yes.
Once you release that out to the public for public consumption, you've released that, and you can't take it back, even if you settle things. Right. And years later, if someone listens to it and you guys don't even have the disagreement or the discourse anymore, there's nobody there to explain it to them, but it's there. And they draw their own conclusions to it.
That's true.
We go back and listen to Ether because it's always going to be there. No matter even though they're chill now, it's there. The takeover's there, everything's there.
Right.
And that's the point I'm making. I just want to say this. It's like, you're responsible for what's on wax. You could find out how to contact somebody and talk to somebody, but when you put it on wax, it's on wax. Right or wrong, he felt it that way. And, we've all done stuff. We're human, and I'm not even mad about it. But there's just a lot that we need to consider when these things come up, and also the people who are looking up to us. Okay.
So, Zaccheus, let me get you in on this. What's your stance on this?
Well, I always look at it this way. When it comes to holy hip hop and gospel Caribbean music, our approach should be always different. It shouldn't be the same exact like the world. Because we have a small community. It's a like years ago, it was a few years ago, I would say. I was collabing and I was putting my music through the what's it called, the Caribbean gospel music, Mark Murray Christafari, gospelreggae.com, and Mark, the creative, that would say we're a struggling genre, meaning that not so much people hear about the artists or familiar with the artists, or they don't know too much about the artists. Because if you go to a local bar, if you go to, like, let's say even a church, and you mention some of these artists, some people wouldn't even know who they are. So our approach has definitely got to be different, and that's what makes us stand out, because we're representing Christ. So it's got to be a little different, but it's got to be different. It's got to stand out, even in our flow and our delivery. And when it comes to Christian battle, I'm like, holy hip hop battle. It's like, oh man, who's battling and why they battling? When I heard this, I was like, man, when I heard the battle, I was like, wait a minute, why are they battling now? I'm supposed to get the music out there even more, or even to push the music out there more. So what's all the battling about? So it's like, if you do, if you don't, it's like, okay, doing the battle for entertainment just to get the music out there and get it's probably a promotion thing to get it out there, but still it's like our approach got to be a little different. We got to be more humble, because let me ask y'all, what's the state of holy hip hop today?
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Because we've had something more severe than this, like when T-Bone and Tunnel Rats were going at each other and other things.
Yeah.
In this community before. And, kind of Tunnel Rats solved it on that album with, LPG with Remember.
Yeah.
Tunnel Vision.
Yeah, the Tunnel Vision album. Yeah. And so on one of the songs, somebody was talking about how it got physical. You were doing chin-ups. I blew a kiss at your girl and stuff like that.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. Zaccheus,
You're talking about Raphael.
But, but it's the same album.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to bring up two different things inside the same group dealing with the same thing, two different reactions. You know what I'm saying? But, Remember had some facts in it and some, because somebody said something on record, somebody says something else on record. I can live with that. I'm not totally, you put that out there on wax for the world to hear. I'm responding. I can live with that. Right. I don't like it when it escalates past that.
Right.
And it's not good for us. No. Because then we're no different than,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that, Mm-hmm. And fifth.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
So I'm gonna have to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give my last little thing on this. We're gonna have to go into our topic.
Yeah, definitely.
Topic. So look, my thing is this. So at the end of the day, ain't like that many people know who these guys are to begin with. Outside of this community, Christian hip hop community is a very small community.
That's what I was saying.
Within hip hop culture. So a lot of people, what the sad thing is the fact that this is probably the biggest attention that I've seen Christian hip hop get in years. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing I want to say about Shai Linne, and look, I'm gonna own my words on this one. It's just little old me, little old fifth general. Don't nobody know me like that. They just don't. Just keep it real. Everybody don't know me musically, and everybody don't know me on the mic, podcasting and broadcasting. Everybody don't know about Life Zone back in 2008.
Right. That's true.
So what little old me is not going to affect what I'm about to say right now. I want to say one thing. Shai Linne didn't need this record to get attention for this album, or did he? I'll let people come to their own conclusion on that. Shai Linne, I'm a fan of Shai Linne's music. I have for a long time. I respect what he does. Just because you do something with a smile doesn't mean it wasn't disrespectful. And I'm not trying to say that Shai's being disrespectful, but the point I'm making is, Shai, you said it, now you got to deal with it. Anything that anybody says personally at somebody, whether it be direct or subliminal, you got to deal with the backlash. And then when the backlash comes your way, don't cry foul. Okay? Me and my brothers get on this microphone and we say what we want, and whatever, me, look, I want whatever's coming to me. I'm not some tough guy. I'm not trying to be on some tough guy stuff and talk mess. I'm not doing it. But the point I'm making is, wherever I say, and then you come at me for it, fine. These are just my opinions, But to me, they both ain't squeaky clean. Shai ain't squeaky clean. Ruslan ain't squeaky clean. Okay? Shoot, they hear this, they might do a diss record on me. That's all right. Don't make me pick my pen up. I had to put it down temporarily. But anyway, this is just my opinion solely. This is not the opinion of the Round Circle. Disclaimer: this is not the opinion of the Round Circle. This is just my opinion. This is Jason. I'll say my full name. This is Jason, the Fifth General Swain's opinion.
No.
Okay.
Wait.
This is just my opinion. They know my name.
I know.
This is just my opinion, and I'm not saying that Shai or them or I'm not saying that Shai and Ruslan is saying that they're squeaky clean guys. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you hear this thing about, and you hear this a lot in the church. Yo, brother, I'm talking in love. Are you? The only person who knows that is God. And then secondly, you got an issue with your brother, then you got to bring it to him personally. You know what I'm saying? You got to, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. You got to bring it to him personally. You know what I mean?
Scripture.
So, and I understand there is a scripture that does get to a point where, where there is an open rebuke. I get it. There actually is. And you know what? I may not know the scripture like Shai Linne does, so he could probably debate me into the ground biblically. That's okay. That's all right. But the point I'm making is that whatever started from this, it's on both y'all hands. It's on the hands of you, Shai, and Ruslan. It's on both y'all hands. I like both of y'all musically, separately. You know what I'm saying? I'm not picking sides. I have a fair ground, middle ground on this. I agree with some of the things Rus said on the song. I agree with some of the things Shai said on the song. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the very person who, first off, people were looking for to respond didn't. And that's Lecrae. Man hasn't even said a word. And if I can say this, Lecrae, you don't even have to respond. But you don't need Fifth General to tell you that. This ain't gonna stop your money. This ain't gonna stop what you doing. And secondly, Shai, you don't know Lecrae's heart. And Shai, I don't know your heart. Okay? I don't know Ruslan's heart. Ruslan, you don't know Shai's heart. Neither of y'all know each other's heart. Okay? So both of y'all kill that noise.
Kill that noise, yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. That turned into a rant. I didn't mean it to.
But, it happened.
Yeah.
And let's move on to today's subject.
Yeah. Culture vultures.
Yep.
Which there are plenty in Christian hip hop, but that's another conversation. Culture vultures. Now, I want you, Zaccheus, to start this off. Read the definition of cultural appropriation and why I had you chose you to read this for this topic.
Well, cultural appropriation is the adoption or use of elements of one culture by members of another culture. Cultural appropriation, often framed as cultural misappropriation, is sometimes portrayed as harmless and is claimed to be a violation of collective of intellectual property rights of the originating culture. Well, my take on that is that that people that benefit from a person's culture, you're using it and you're taking from it and you're benefiting from it. And then you say, okay, I don't need it no more because I got what I want. Now I don't need it no more. Poof.
I'll give you an example from like the 90s and the late 80s.
Yeah.
We used to call McDonald's Mickey D's. Nobody called it Mickey D's. For years, it was just Mickey D's, and that's what it was called in the hood. Then one day, we were all shocked when it showed up on a commercial.
Wow.
Say, wow.
I get what he's saying there. Mm-hmm. So here's something that on one end was said by another, but then the corporation profited off of it.
Right.
I will say, yeah.
And then made it universal because the franchise's name is McDonald's.
Right. Exactly.
There's a lot of products that have been created because of slang, and then someone takes it and uses that name as a product.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely right. Go ahead. Go further.
Adidas with hip hop, to where Shut 'Em Down had to be made because Nike started doing the same thing. And Chuck D, I like Nike, but wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all better cough up the dough.
That's true. He said that on
Shut 'Em Down.
Shut 'Em Down. Yeah, he did.
Shut 'em down. Oh my.
Shut 'em down.
I'm not gonna quote the whole verse.
Yeah.
It's a matter of record. He's saying cough up the dough into the communities. Nike did. They survived.
Right.
Adidas didn't. They didn't survive because we were wearing Adidas with Run DMC for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Chuck D realized, now Nike's doing that. He's like, I like Nike, but wait a minute.
Yeah, but I try to tell people, you're giving them free promotion. So that's not Adidas' fault, for Run DMC doing Adidas.
Something that happened later after it, because they were accepting the culture. There was something that happened later that turned it, but I don't even want to address that.
Right.
Because I don't have all the facts in front of me, so I don't want to misquote the situation. But something happened after that which turned the hood against Adidas. They just dropped them like that. Yeah. Wow. It wasn't even long. We all started wearing Nikes. That's when I started wearing Nikes. I've been wearing Nikes ever since. And Tim's. And so musically they used to do that. You had a rap. Yes. You had rap and Blondie because Stevie Wonder took rap and put it in Do I Do.
Right.
But
do I do?
Yeah, and so I could quote that whole thing, but it was just that style of rapping at that time started getting into mainstream music.
Yeah, right.
But it didn't stay, as we know. It came back later. It's so universal now that where you used to have an instrumental break, you have a guest verse, a hip hop verse now.
That's true.
Instead,
for a couple of bars.
Yep. Instead, and that would be a musical instrumental back in the days on the old records.
Oh yeah.
Zaccheus, let me get you in here. So cultural. Let me give it back to you, Cinema. Yeah. Cultural appropriation. Now, I brought up this topic for this reason. Miley Cyrus.
Okay.
This is somebody who we saw on the MTV Awards, twerking. And twerking all up on Robin Thicke. you know, and having a black woman on there twerking with one balloon butt black woman got on. Oh God, forgive me for saying that, but then some in that MTV awards performance. Because some sister walked out there. That woman had more tail than a T-Rex. Ooh. And she walked out there. She walked out there, and when she twerked, the earth shake. Okay, the earth shook. Okay?
Right.
So let me get to my point of why I said that to say that. This is somebody who now recently talk about, hip hop was misogynistic, and I'm like, wait a minute, hip hop. She's saying it was misogynistic and all this other stuff, and you know, she couldn't stand certain things that were being said and all this other stuff. And I'm saying to myself, like, yeah, but you was okay with that when you was making money off of it.
See?
And then when you were trying to shake your Hannah Montana image, then now you want that Hannah Montana image back, probably because somebody came to her in the dominant society and said, you know what, you need to cool that down, otherwise we're gonna stop your money. Allegedly. I'm not saying that happened. That probably allegedly happened. And then all of a sudden she's on Jimmy Fallon or whatever the talk show that is, and then she's growing her hair back and she's wearing a sundress.
Right.
Because the limo's out front every size. No.
So, in your opinion, culture vulture. Okay, culture vultures should be called out for their cultural appropriation and vultureism. If that's even a word. The reason why this stuff happens is because in the community that they're trying to appropriate, the culture itself, people of that community don't speak out against them soon enough.
Right.
So would you say that the culture vultures in hip hop per se are black people's fault?
You know what? I would say to some extent, yeah, because we allow all people to come into the music, allow community, and we let them do whatever they want to do. Because we're so welcoming, we're so open, so we allow them to just use up what they can, and then when they're ready, they bounce and be like, I don't need y'all no more. I don't know y'all no more.
It was just a phase.
It's just a little phase I was going through. Now I'm making got a little money off it. Okay, now don't call me hip hop now. I'm not hip hop no more. So that's what that's all about. We're so open and so welcoming.
Yeah. Kid Rock's another example of that.
Yeah, can we do that in country music? Can we go in there and use it up and then be like, okay, you don't call me country. Can we do that?
No,
can we do that in some genres? Can we do that in metal? Can we do that in any other genres too?
First off, before they even let us in, we got to do a lot to even get there. Let's just put it like this. And in our sense, we wouldn't be culture vulturing because rock and roll was created by black folks. Okay, so was country.
Facts.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the original country. Okay. So we know this for a fact. So no, they would not allow us to come in and do that and then diss it.
Shout out to Chuck Berry. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
The point I'm gonna hand it back to you because I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to just throw this in there real quick to help the next question I have for you. So let me kind of clean up what I said a little bit because the point I'm making is you have people, not just black people within hip hop culture, but say if Beastie Boys, who are white, and they had a harsh critique for somebody outside of the hip hop culture community to come in and just come in and do whatever they want with hip hop. I would be on their side if they said, yo, what they're doing is not hip hop. I would respect that they said that, and they're white.
Yes, it's true.
Because Beastie Boys is part of hip hop culture.
Yes, they are.
And on that, like, let's say MC Surge or even
Third Base,
or Eminem, because Eminem didn't leave hip hop culture.
Oh, House of Pain.
House of Pain.
Everlast from House of Pain. Although Everlast, he's not. He hasn't done a hip hop record in a long time.
Decades.
Okay.
Right. Or anybody of any culture who participates in hip hop, because that's what they do.
Right.
And it's not necessarily, even Miley's an example, but there's other people who are examples besides Miley, people who will come into the hip hop culture or the hip hop R&B culture to make a come out and then go back to what they were doing, who really wouldn't mess with it.
Yeah.
Otherwise. And so if any of those people stood up, I would definitely support them because they can speak for the culture because they're part of the culture.
Yeah.
And, when it comes to it, it's somebody who's not really authentic and you're just using it. And then you just want to discard the culture or diss the culture. Like, oh, now that I'm here, you're irrelevant. Let's talk about every TV network that has black shows. And then when they become a network that's serious, all of a sudden programming changes.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we used to have the Wayans brothers. We used to have, even Fox did it.
Yes.
Yo, stay with that. Let's not move anywhere from this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I wanted to get the music out of the way, but I want to get the Hollywood. Good segue.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Fox, okay, and NBC had in living color.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Fox had Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Fox had in living color. Martin.
Right.
Living single.
Yep. Speak on it.
A different world? They had a different world too?
Different world. That's CBS.
CBS.
That's
okay.
NBC.
NBC.
That's NBC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's any of them. I get mixed up with a different world, but right. Fresh Prince, stuff like that.
Yes.
You said Wayne's Brothers. Let me go to that. WB, because it was WB at the time. WB's primetime network and had a lot of black shows. Steve Harvey Show, Wayne's Brothers, Jamie Foxx Show, UPN, Moesha,
the other half of the CW, which that when they became the CW, WB
Family Matters was ABC.
Yep.
Family Matters had ABC, Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yep.
CNN had a show called The 90s or something like that. And it was talking about how a lot of these networks use a lot of the black shows because you didn't have to pay actors as much. The production level, you didn't have to pay the same money you paid for Friends, you had to pay for Rock.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Charles Dutton. Shout outs to you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Big time.
And then once the networks got their money, they said, okay, we got to make room, so goodbye. This is why it's important for black folks to own businesses in all various forms of industry.
Speak on it.
Because this is the thing that could happen to you.
That's right.
Number one, we ain't even... So there might be some white supremacist troll listening to this show and then says, well, you got BET. No, we don't. BET ain't black owned. Shut up.
Yeah, we don't own BET.
Viacom, who owns MTV. Thank you.
Exactly.
Let's keep it moving. And while we're there.
Yep.
While we're there.
Who owns TV One?
While we're
we'll
there.
We'll get to TV One in a second, but get right there, Cinema, that I need to hand it to Zaccheus.
Yeah, while we're there, we're talking about MTV, who wouldn't play hip-hop videos at first.
Facts.
Who still has a personal war with KRS-One. Because KRS-One, a lot of things they did coming up with, and then all of a sudden, Yo MTV Raps come, but because they saw locally Ralph McDaniels was having success in New York,
right,
having an underground rap show.
Video Music Box.
Video Music Box, yeah.
Right, and then BET comes out with, Pump It Up, and it's whole thing during the day when it's not owned by Viacom. Then all of a sudden you get Yo MTV Raps and mainstream things of that nature over there. And when that's a culture vulture. MTV was a culture vulture because now you can't. They use it and they drop it so quick.
Yep.
Everything gets retired.
Yep.
They're hurting now. Wildin' Out is back, but we won't,
Yeah.
Rap City. You can't forget about Rap City. Yeah.
Rap City's BET.
Rap City, but that was before BET was in Viacom.
Right.
Then.
Bob Johnson still owned BET.
Yeah.
When Rapzilla and Planet Groove and all these other,
Rap City, Planet Groove. The whole program was music, and then it was adult music at night. And then you had a show here and there because you couldn't get licenses for shows back then. So that's when music television was music television. And so, BET had that. Then you had Bet on Jazz, which once Viacom came in, that just got cut. That disappeared.
Got canceled completely.
Yeah, they just destroyed it. And that was my channel because you know me, I'm a jazz head. Yeah. And so, and that's what it is. They couldn't beat it. They bought it, and then they ended it. Culture Vulture. And they used it, and then they kept 106 and Park around for a while. You saw it.
Yep.
They trimmed the lineup down, and then poof. Now all you get is award shows every once in a while.
Yes, that's it.
Well, we've talked about, and I need to hand this to Zaccheus in a second. I just want to phrase this way. So we talked about this on Hip Hop for Sale, and our Hip Hop for Sale series of those 3 episodes. We talked about the culture vultures, right? What hurts it the most is the fact that it's the profiting off of it, and then not letting it recirculate to the actual culture that created it.
Right.
That's what makes it worse. So Hollywood, right? Zaccheus.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to these cultural appropriation, because it goes deep into that, let's talk about the history, right? The history of Culture Vulture goes back before Amos and Andy and all that other stuff. Oh my gosh. But not to rehash that again because we did talk about that before.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it when they do these Egypt movies.
Woo.
Because Culture Vulture is not just about, I'm going to come in and make money off the culture. It's also about retelling a story and whitewashing. And this is a white supremacist tactic. How many white Jesus movies do we have?
Practically all.
You have to
practically all. They have
first off, I need you count with your 2 hands, my 2 hands, Cinema's 2 hands, and then you still need more hands.
Then we need our feet and our toes.
Exactly.
Well, in the 70s, they had Jesus of Nazareth. All white cast. They had the cross. The role.
Let's keep
the 50s.
Let's take it more modern. That still happens to this day, right?
Yes.
You've had Exodus, Gods and Kings movie, right?
Yes.
That flopped. Thank God it did. Should have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the Gods of Egypt. Yep. That flopped. It should have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I jumped for joy when I heard the movies flopped.
And Passion was
Passion of the Christ.
The Christ. Yeah.
Well, that didn't flop, but it's on the Culture Vulture part.
Yes.
Yeah, that was an independent movie too.
Yeah. Hollywood been doing that for years.
That was Mr. Gibson.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Hollywood is a bunch of suckers because then when black folks want to do a movie about the actual history, what happens? Hollywood says, we ain't giving you nothing. Hollywood says, nobody would want to see that.
Well, Hollywood
Michael Jackson, allegedly, I'm going to give it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, I don't know this for a fact because I saw a meme. I can't go off of a meme. But I've heard stories that Michael Jackson wanted. The reason why Michael Jackson did the Remember the Time video was because he wanted to do a movie allegedly with Steven Spielberg about Egypt, and he wanted to be in charge of the casting.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Spielberg told him, nobody's going to want to, allegedly, Steven Spielberg said nobody's going to want to see an Egypt movie with black people. So Michael Jackson said, oh, really? So what happened with the Remember the Time video?
You had Eddie Murphy.
Yep.
Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
You had Iman.
Model, supermodel.
Yeah, supermodel.
Beautiful, by the way.
Yeah. You had a full black cast in that video, which that video is timeless. You can still look at that video today and be like, wow, that's a great video. And this is Michael Jackson was let's go into Michael Jackson for a little bit. Michael Jackson was he knew what time it was when it comes down to Culture Vulture. He knew it. That's why he spoke so much about Tommy Mottola in Harlem a decade ago, when he said that they're taking my music and they're not really promoting. They didn't get the promotion they should have because he wanted to take full control. He knew what Michael Jackson before he knew what time it was. He knew what time it was. And also it just goes even beyond Michael Jackson. It just goes back to how people benefited from culture and the history of it and how it goes back and how they took it and they just ran with, okay, this is what and they said, even you've done the Tyler Perry, do not put Tyler Perry is casting a whole black cast, and many times they even told him don't even put Jesus in his stories. They told him that too, and they also and this also goes back into, it just goes into history about how deep they go into taking things from, and they put in this images. This is why our kids today the images is portrayed as beautiful, but even goes back into I'm even going back into Elizabeth Taylor, as you know, in the Moses, Cleopatra, how they portray her as Elizabeth Taylor, Elizabeth Taylor,
played by Elizabeth
Taylor, and it's like, okay, that's what she's supposed to look like, and it's like, it plays in our children's minds, and it plays in the adults' mind, the youth's mind. It plays in the youth's mind even back then, what you're supposed to look like.
And here you have people filming,
even the way how we look.
You had them filming that movie in Egypt,
and
they were getting sunburns, and they said, this is crazy. And then because the people, well, because it goes to show you the people of that region was in jail.
Right, exactly.
They said people couldn't. They had to take so many breaks filming that movie.
Yeah, because it was so hot in the desert.
Right, it was too. They were getting sunburns all over the place. They said sunblock was stock rose when they went out there. You know what I mean? So that goes to show you the people of the. And here's the thing: they did this movie. A lot of these movies, they didn't even hire any black people to be cameramen, at least. Now, here's my thing, because look, at the end of the day, a wise person once said, the winners of the war tell the stories. Okay? Let's just keep it real. White supremacy has won the race wars. People talk about a race war starting now. No. Black folks, you've been in a race war for over 500 years. Okay? So, since they own all the Fortune 500 companies and everything else, white supremacy, that is. Specifically me saying white supremacy and not white people. But just staying with that. Since they're the ones that get to have these movies and stuff, of course it's going to be up to them to do it. So then my whole thing is, as black folks, you need to be the masters of your culture, the gatekeepers of your culture, and you tell the stories. You know what I'm saying? That's how it should be. That's how it should be. You should be the one to tell the stories. We shouldn't be on the other end. We shouldn't be on the other end waiting for them to do right by us. I don't do that. But I just want to get to that. Right. I just want to get to that conversation of black folks who sit on the sidelines and complain. Why did they do this? Why did they do that? Okay. Well, they're going to do this movie. Well, I hope they do this right. No, number one, I don't expect that. I want us to pull our resources together and tell our stories and own the things that we create. The content, we should be masters of the content. I mean, they're masters of their content and yours too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, good Lord. You know?
And shout out to Mario Van Peebles, because there was a time where he was just doing independent B movies, like Gunman, all this stuff.
Yeah, him and his father.
Oh my, yep, exactly. Great movies, and we used to go see them. We used to rent them. We used to buy them and support it.
Oh yeah, of course.
So the whole thing is, how do you stop a culture vulture? You stop supporting them.
Exactly. Boycott them.
Yeah. Look
how many people.
And if I'm not even interested, I don't even call that a boycott, because it's like I look at things and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to see that. It's easy.
just check this out real quick.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have to wrap this up soon. Just check this out. Look how many people. Look how many people of the dominant society are upset about the Black Panther movie casting. The movie takes place. Yes, it's a comic book, so it's a fictional place in Africa. Africa is not fictional, but the place of Wakanda is, right?
Right.
Wakanda is a metaphor, right? It's really a metaphor for a particular country in Africa. And the one thing I like about Wakanda, that the story that Marvel says, is that Wakanda is supposed to be, according to the comic book, the only African country in Africa that was never colonized, never lost a war, never did such and such. I think the closest example I could think of is probably Ethiopia, because Ethiopia is a country that wasn't colonized like the rest of them.
That's
you know
right.
What I'm saying?
That's right. Because Haile Selassie fought and beat Italy. Okay. Anyway.
Right. No. Speak on that. No, speak on that, Zaccheus.
Yeah, Haile Selassie, Emperor Haile Selassie, was in the 1930s.
Right.
Fought. And fought Italy when Italy was coming in. They fought and they beat and they defeated Italy from invading Ethiopia, and that's why Ethiopia stands independent today. And what they do when a country stands independent, what certain countries do, well, I would say European countries do. What they do is they try to the natural resources, like I'm gonna speak on Haiti too.
They steal
and they don't. They profit off of the natural resources,
and the money never goes
and
back.
no goes back. That's what happened to Haiti.
Yeah,
that's what happened to Haiti.
With
that's why it's, in the state it is in today, still today.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. So so you talk about Ethiopia being very independent, but that's what happened.
Right,
that's exactly what happened.
So that was a quick little history lesson, and to me, that's what I think Wakanda kind of represents. But let me hand it back to you, Cinema. You see the reaction, right? You see how they're upset that most of the cast is black and stuff like that. And so, but here's my thing. If you mad at somebody, be mad at Disney, because Disney is the one that funded this movie.
Yes. Okay.
But that's not the only movie that's happening. Like Peter Parker's main love interest in Homecoming, Liz, I think that's what her name was, is
she's black.
And I don't want to say more because it gives away
spoilers.
A twist in that movie that's sick, that made me go, oh my God.
Right.
Yeah. But basically how Marvel being in New York wants to portray New York how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how, watching Homecoming, I'm like, yeah, that's how I grew up. With everything, with every kind of ethnicity around me,
because New York's a melting pot.
That's right.
That's right. That's how it is. And if you want to get mad about that, and there wasn't no Mary Jane in the movie, so all of y'all are safe.
Yeah.
There was an MJ, but if you haven't read Miles's comics, which most of the moviegoers haven't, you didn't have a clue what was going on.
Yeah.
Because the MCU is a separate universe. So they take things from the comic and apply them differently, so you can't figure it out. And the MCU is its own universe. But what Marvel wanted to do is reflect the diversity and reality of real life. And basically, because they got the backing of Disney, there's nothing no one can really do about it at this point. But if you go, and I'll go and spend my money on that more so than something that's really putting us down, like that new Confederate show they're trying to put together. Like, what? Really?
Wait a minute, they're trying to put together a Confederate show?
Yeah, but with a spin on it. We'll talk about that later, because that's been making noise. Yeah, and that might be a nice topic for Mr. Z and Fifth.
Zaccheus, you got something to say?
Yeah. Shout out for our folks that's trying to go independent, man. I remember this film back it's called The Color of the Cross. It was independent, and it came out maybe about 2007. There's an all-black cast with the brother that played Jesus was Lamar John Claude, Haitian brother that played Jesus. It came out in 2006. They didn't get too much promotion for this, but this goes to tell you that we we have to do our own thing, and you know how much promotion we'll get from there. Not too much backing. The movie is called, you can look at it, I think it's on YouTube, it's called The Color of the Cross. That's the only time I've ever seen Jesus portrayed as a black man in a movie. But it was an independent movie, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And,
but you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, you do.
So we're going to have to wrap this up.
Yeah.
So actually, Zaccheus, I'll let you end, okay?
Yep.
So, Cinema, I'm going to hand it to you first. Anything you want to say addressing all of our topics today?
I'll be real quick and brief.
Yeah.
Basically, as far as the appropriation of culture, what happens is if you don't know your culture, you don't know where you're from, you can be twisted. If you're not informed on topics or the history of something, which I talked about in another subject, you have to know where things came from and why they come from. And if you don't know, ask somebody. It's, or research. We have the internet now, and basically find things to support. I use Google as a tool to find things to support. My artists, that's how I find them. I have alerts. There's apps that tell me when they're in town so I don't miss their shows. I follow them. I follow their projects, follow directors. I follow a lot of directors up and coming. And then I like to know about things. I usually follow a lot of directors while they're making movies because the directors don't give spoilers to their movies and things like that. And it's worthwhile. You can find things to support. It's easier now. And what happens is we just wait for them to promote to us instead of finding out what we want to see. Because there's a lot of movies I was watching the making of, and I'm like, I'm going to pass on this. Because I really didn't like how it was coming together. And it was kind of right. You could kind of see,
yes,
where something's going if you follow it, And, it's very important to know who you are.
Yes, yes.
And, the only way you fall prey to a vulture is if you think they're going to give you something that they have, but they're not going to give it to you. They're just coming to take from you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you're an independent person, you meet a lot of vultures in your life. A lot of people who come because you have a unique sound and they'll work with you, but they're really just trying to get in and they're going to dump you as soon as, they're finished with you.
Yes.
And they're not going to use the sound that you're using anyway. That's to get in. Because it's not important for them to keep that sound. It was important for them to get someone's attention. And that's really what they're all about. They're not really about your culture or what you're doing or what you're vibing about. And I've experienced that a lot in production and working with people. And so the best way is to educate yourself and, and there, the red flags, it and you know it in your heart,
Mm-hmm.
Just don't support it. I don't, as soon as I see a culture vulture, I'm done. And I'm like, I'm good. You sure this is an opportunity? I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's what I got to say. A vulture is a wild bird, right? A vulture by nature, when they're scavengers. So they tend to eat off the things that are either dead or on its way dying. This metaphor is going to be a little bit tricky. What we have in our art, it's not that it's dying. That's not what I'm saying. But let's talk about what a vulture does when he eats something, right? A vulture vulture picks at their food. First, they orbit around, fly for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Circle around. They'll be up there for a long time. See their chance to come in, eat the flesh, the meat, but they leave the bones because they've already got what they got out of that. They're gone. That's it. Done with it. That's what a lot of these culture vultures do, man. They orbit around anything that they see. Because the vulture didn't hunt the food. He didn't actually go get it. Somebody, it was already there.
Right.
Somebody already else did that. The Vulture is coming in on a job that was already done. Does what it's got to do and is out. That's what Miley Cyrus did. That's why I brought her up. And I was kind of easy today.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah. Thanks for mentioning Justin Bieber, because I kind of let that man off the hook. This is my final thought. I need to keep it brief. People like Miley Cyrus. Just an example. I'm not just, it's not just her. And Justin Bieber ain't off the hook either. First off, forget a Justin Bieber. First off. Man, I'm not going to allow somebody to come. I'm not going to support somebody to come in, do some songs, just because Usher signed them or whatever. Do some songs with some people, with some rappers, with some black folks. But then you get on, you on video telling N-word jokes. Okay? And then you got some coons that say, oh, well, he's from Canada. He don't know any better. Excuse me?
He must not know nothing about Canada.
Exactly. He's from Canada. He don't know any better? Really? Then if we're gonna give him that excuse, then how come other people from other cultures come from Canada, and if they see anything that's goes left on somebody else's culture, you hold their feet to the fire, but not Justin Bieber's? That's bullcrap.
That is, yeah.
You gonna try to tell me Justin Bieber don't know anything about racism and racist jokes? Where you think he got that from? Okay? This man's on YouTube. He got a song called One Less Lonely Girl, whatever the heck that song is called. And then he replaced the words with one less lonely N-word. And then in the song he says, if I kill you, I'll be joining the KKK. Oh, that sounds like somebody who doesn't know about racism.
Mm-hmm.
People like to make light of it and say it's a joke. It ain't no joke. And that's a lot of things. A lot of things that are racist start off as jokes. But then when lives are took, that's when people want to get serious. Oh, no. A wise man once said the Ku Klux Klan started out as jokes, and then look at the atrocities and the terrorism that they have committed for all these years, and still able to be an organization while the Black Panthers are not.
Hello, speak on it. Hello.
So, like Cinema said, anytime you see some culture vulture stuff, number one, close up shop. Don't even let them in. And secondly, if you see them trying to profit and make money off of something, don't even support it. Don't even support it. That was almost like a final thought / rant because of that Justin Bieber thing. But I just had to put that in there because I meant to mention Justin Bieber earlier. But like I said, Justin Bieber's just an example. He's not I'm not painting a broad stroke because of him, but I'm just saying that you have a lot of people out there who do these things and they teach it. And Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber are young, and cultural appropriation and culture vultures have been around before I was born, before any of us was born. But the reason why this stuff keeps happening is because they teach generations. White supremacy teaches the generations that carry on to his seed and their seed and their seeds. It's 2017. We shouldn't even be talking about this. But we do because this stuff still takes place. Mm-hmm. And if you were in this current generation and you're not teaching your children what the things that they can face, and if you're not fighting for them, then you don't love them. If I don't fight for you or somewhat speak on your behalf or try to make things better for the future that's gonna be after me, then I don't care. I don't want to ever be that person. Because when you leave this earth today, what will your book read? I'd rather be somebody who stood for something. Mm-hmm. And if I said anything that was unpopular anybody didn't like today, guess what? I ain't even saying I'm sorry. And I meant every word I said.
That's right.
Including from the start of the program to the end. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Zaccheus.
Yeah. Final thoughts, man. When it comes to holy hip hop community, I believe. Now, I always said this even when I started getting into became saved and got into the whole gospel music community. I always said that we have to stand in unity because as especially not so much with broader gospel like a urban gospel, traditional gospel, but I say with holy hip hop and with Caribbean gospel music, it's a small community. but we gotta stand in unity, and we cannot. But you can't bring each other down, because because what it does is we just copying what the world does. When we do that, we just mocking what the world does, and we don't want to. And we want to stand out, because remember, especially when people are searching music, and then they run to your music, then they hear this, they hear, oh, they battling each other. Oh well, they ain't no different than Nas and Jay-Z. They ain't no different than MCs battling each other in the world. That's my take on that. So you do have to come out and stand out differently. Now when it comes to culture vulture, now once again we allow this. When hip hop was sold, everything was open. The cards were laid out on the table. Which way we'll go. Whatever direction it will take, it will take. We gave it up. We have no control of it. Now the culture vulture is able to take and pick till we can't even, that conscious music can't even go mainstream anymore, because of we can try, we can push it, but as far as the label, the big wigs, we can't even make it go mainstream. This is where the kids they learn from the music, and the music is sometimes their teaching tool, because let's face it, a lot of us don't pick up books and read. A lot of us don't do research, so the music is our teacher. So what are we really learning when we listen to the music? What you're really learning from it? Okay, my point exactly. So, now when it comes to setting an example, parents, we got a lot to do. When you don't teach your kids to love each other and embrace each other, and they look at images, this is our job to teach them to love themselves, and to love their skin. Because you can look at movies like the 10 Commandments, and you can see who's on it. You can look at movies like the Passion, you can see who's portrayed on it all the time. Jesus is portrayed as a white man with silky hair and blue eyes all the time. Our superiors are white, silky hair and blue eyes all the time. So when we don't teach our kids to love themselves, this is the images, and this is where the coonery seeps into their brain cells, and this is like, okay, this is this is better. Lighter is better, so I go here. This is better.
Sure,
yeah. My hair is they use the term nappy. I don't even like using that term. That like my daughter said years, I had to correct her. Oh, daddy, my hair is nappy. I said, no, your hair is beautiful. Why can't I have nice long hair? No, your hair is beautiful. So we got to teach our kids. And we got to teach and even if we don't have kids, we got to teach the youths that you are beautiful. That's not what's portrayed on TV, and not what's portrayed in books, cartoon books. So that's my final thought.
There we go. Zaccheus, how can they reach you?
Yo, you can reach me on Instagram, Zaccheus, Zacchus, Zaccheus B73 on Instagram. You can also reach me on Facebook, just at Wayne Bacchus, Bacchus, and also you can hit me up. You can just hit me up on Facebook and Twitter too. Wayne Bacchus 2 on Twitter. And you can also pick up my book. It's available on Barnes & Noble as well. A Bad Man, a Thug, and a Gangster. Available right now. Check it out.
Cinema, how can they reach you?
Cinemascapes, CINEMASCAPES at Cinemascapes, at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation.
That's right.
All of them. It's Cinemascapes at all of them. I got them all.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. So you can reach me at the Fifth General. on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at the Fifth General, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All right. So we're gonna get up out of here. We'll see y'all next time. I'm your host, the Fifth General.
You got Zaccheus
and Cinemascapes.
All right, signing off. Peace.
Peace.